So this is the first episode of a new series that I'm planning to publish on this channel, in which we are going to be covering a new topic, which has been interesting for me in the past, and I hope it's going to be helpful for you all. On this episode, I'm going to do a very brief introduction of what is it Acestream, and how can you deploy it running as a Docker on a Raspberry Pi. So this is essentially what you can see here on this diagram. But before getting into the practical tutorial, let me briefly explain some concepts which I believe are very meaningful to understand before we go into details. The reason I'm doing this introduction is essentially because it has been difficult for me in the past to really understand all the different components and all the different pieces that are available on any Acestream network. One of the things that I believe causes the lack of information about this tool is that some people believe it is related to something which is not illegal, and well, that is obviously something that is not true. And I think the best way to prove this statement is by inviting you to visit the Google Play Store and find the application there. So as you can see here, this is a screenshot of Google Play Store as of today. You will see there that you can download the program because it is available there, which essentially demonstrates it is perfectly legal to install it on a device. You don't need to sideload the application. You don't need to do anything super strange to make it run. You don't need to go to the dark web or anything like that. You just go there and download it, and it is gonna work. Another comment that I would like to make is that it is not easy to really understand why is it that there are so many different versions of the application on the Google Play Store. And that is also something which is not helping really understand this technology itself. So let me try to briefly explain the reason behind that. So the reason is essentially that each of the versions of the application is designed to do different things. So as you can see here, the application essentially is created to run on the last versions over an Android OS, and you can install it on pretty much any device that is running Android. So depending on which is the usage that you want to make of the application and which is the kind of device that you want to install it on, you would need to choose one or the other. And this is something that I think it's not very well explained on the internet, and can cause some confusion on the people who is trying to install it and use this application. On this series, we are not going to be installing the application on any of these devices because, as I told you at the very beginning of the video, we've done a Dockerized version of it, which is going to run on any platform. It doesn't matter which architecture it has, and you will see how to do it over the course of the video. So with that said, I think another very important concept to understand is the different pieces of the application itself. So in essence, what Acestream is an application which has one component on all the applications, which is a BitTorrent client. And then depending on which version of the application you install, it also contains a video player. As I am showing on this screen, you don't need to download the application which has embedded the video player because the video player is just meant to open the stream which is being get by the BitTorrent client. So I think that is also a very important concept for you to understand, and that can cause some confusion for those that don't understand it. So in essence, the application which only has the BitTorrent client is the one that is called the Acestream engine. Any other versions of the application is going to be installing the BitTorrent client, in other words, the Acestream engine, and a video player. And the video player that it is going to install is a kind of a customized version of a very popular video player called VLC from a company called VLAN. What we are going to be using on all this series is a Docker version of the Acestream engine. So, in other words, we are not going to be installing any video player. I am assuming that you already have some kind of video player on your mobile device, on your Android TV, or on, Fire Stick, whatever it is. So just before going into the tutorial, and as a recap of all the comments that I have done, remember that on the left side of this screen, these are the components that we are gonna install. It is a Docker version of the Acestream engine, which contains only the BitTorrent client. It is gonna run on Docker daemon over Raspberry Pi. The container that I'm gonna be using will be valid for any ARM64 or ARM-v7 device, so in other words, on any Raspberry Pi that you have. And then we are essentially gonna convert the Raspberry into an Acestream engine. Again, it is important, and you will see it on the video, that you still need a video player, any video player you like, installed on the device that you want to use to watch the video stream that we will be receiving over the peer-to-peer network on your Raspberry Pi. So with that, let's get to the practical part of the video. So let's start by opening a terminal window, and we will SSH to our Raspberry Pi. So this is the IP address, login password, and we are into the Raspberry Pi, as you see here. So the architecture of my Pi is it is running a 64 bits version of the OS. As I told you, this is gonna work no matter which is the architecture that you have. You could run it on a 32-bit version also. And this is the Docker version that we are using, installed on the Raspberry Pi. We are gonna sudo docker run -d as a daemon. I will remove the container when it stops, and it is important that you assign a network to host, and then the name of the image that you need to use to run this is this one here. It will download the image from Docker Hub if you don't have it already in your system. It is a very lightweight version of the application. We wait for some seconds to complete the download. The same Docker image is gonna allow you to run on both architectures, as I told you before. So we have the Docker running. Let me list it: Docker PS, and this is the one. So this is an Acestream engine container running on the Raspberry Pi. As you see, has just been created. Up for 7 seconds, and that is pretty much all you have to do. Now the next thing is opening your preferred video player. Let me show you that this is the IP 51, the IP of my Raspberry Pi. So the important thing here is that you need to know which is the streaming address that you need to give to your video player. The address is going to be HTTP IP address where the Acestream engine is running. You need to open port 6878/ACE/getstream, and then you put here the info hash. The info hash is something that you need to gather from somewhere. This is gonna be the unique identifier of the stream that you want to open. So this is pretty much all you need to open a stream. It is gonna call your Raspberry Pi from your local machine, from wherever the video player is installed, and it is gonna be starting to stream to it. So in my case, I typically use VLC. So we hit Open Network Stream, and we just copy the address that I showed you before. You paste here. So as you can see here, this is the URL that I was showing you. Now, if I hit play, this player is going to call the Raspberry Pi, and it is going to open the stream. So as you can see, there is no, nothing magic under the hoods. There is no very complex tweaking. You can start opening a stream right away without any complexity. I'm going to show you that this is not loading the Raspberry Pi too much, even though it is getting the stream and it is casting it to your VLC player or any other player. The Raspberry Pi is working pretty well. So let's do a top here, and you see here this is the amount of CPU and memory consumed is very low. You see, this Python process is the is the one that is running the engine. So that is pretty much it. As I told you at the beginning of the video, this is just for me a kind of an intro video. So I am planning to cover on future episodes how to tweak the system to do, you know, different things that I found very interesting. So if you want to watch these videos in the future, please hit subscribe and like the video if you did. And of course, if you want me to cover any specific doubt or question that you might have, just let me know in the comments, and I will try to address your questions on future episodes of this series. In the meantime, take care and have fun.